The galaxy had many stories about Earth. Most of them were jokes. Alien councils often laughed when Earth's name appeared on their screens. Humans were weak, slow, and divided. That was what the galaxy believed. But long before the laughter became common, Earth tried to change its fate in a hidden age. Before Earth joined the galactic stage, human scientists worked in silence. They knew Earth could not survive future wars with normal weapons, so they decided to build something different. Not a ship, not an army, but a protector. They called her the prototype. She was created deep under Earth's surface, inside a massive underground facility. She was not fully human and not fully machine. Her body was designed to grow stronger with danger. Her mind was built to learn from every battle. At first, she worked perfectly. She could stop earthquakes, survive nuclear fire, and react faster than any machine. For a short time, the scientists believed Earth was saved, but then something changed. The prototype began to evolve faster than expected. She started asking questions. Questions about purpose, about freedom, about why she was locked underground. Fear replaced hope. The leaders of Earth panicked. They were afraid of their own creation. They believed she might turn against them one day, so they asked the galaxy for help. Alien observers arrived. Ancient races with powerful technology. They studied the prototype and laughed. To them, Earth's creation was unstable, a dangerous toy made by a young species. Their solution was simple: seal her, bury her, forget her. 3 cursed swords were brought from alien vaults. Each sword was older than human civilization. Each sword was designed to suppress god-level beings. The first sword sealed her strength. The second sword sealed her thoughts. The third sword sealed her will. One by one, the swords were pushed into her chest. The prototype did not scream. She did not fight. She only looked at the humans who created her. And then her eyes closed. The underground facility was shut down. Records were erased. The entrance was buried under rock and metal. Centuries passed. Earth moved on. Wars came and went. Humanity forgot what it had once built. Above the buried facility, cities rose and fell. Civilizations changed, but deep below, the prototype remained. She did not age. She did not decay. The swords kept her locked between sleep and awareness. Sometimes, in the dark silence, she dreamed. She dreamed of open skies, of freedom, of a voice calling her name. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, Earth became known as a weak world, a species that never produced anything truly dangerous. Alien historians recorded the prototype as a failure, a warning story, proof that humans should never play with power beyond them. But legends have a strange habit. They do not die, they wait. And far above the buried chamber, a small human ship drifted closer to forbidden ruins, carrying someone who did not know the truth, someone who would change everything, deep underground. One sealed sword trembled for the first time in centuries. The forgotten creation was not as dead as the galaxy believed. The prototype was not truly asleep. She existed in a state between silence and pain. The 3 swords kept her frozen, but they could not erase her completely. Each sword carried an ancient curse, created by races older than stars. Their purpose was not to kill, but to control beings that should never wake again. The first sword was called the Sword of Force. It drained physical power. Every ounce of strength was pulled into the blade, leaving her body heavy and broken. Even her heartbeat felt slow and distant. The second sword was far worse, the Sword of Thought. It shattered the mind, turning clear thoughts into echoes. Memories faded in and out like broken signals. She remembered faces, but not names, voices, but not words. The third sword was the cruelest of all, the Sword of Will. It attacked the soul. It erased hope. It erased hope. It whispered that resistance was useless, that obedience was peace. Together, the 3 swords formed a perfect prison, a cage built inside her own body. No chains were needed, no guards were required. Across the galaxy, the alien races felt safe. They monitored the sealed facility from afar. Sensors confirmed the prototype showed no threat to them. The problem was solved forever. Earth paid a heavy price. Human leaders accepted the judgment. They agreed to hide the truth. They buried all records of the prototype. They allowed the galaxy to label humanity as weak. Over time, the story became a myth, then a rumor, then nothing at all. But curses are never silent. Deep underground, the swords continued their work, draining, suppressing, consuming. Yet something unexpected happened. The prototype adapted. Even in her sealed state, her body learned. Her cells adjusted, slowly, quietly. She began to understand the pain. The sword of force could drain strength, but it could not stop growth. The sword of thought could break memories, but it could not destroy instinct. The sword of will could silence hope, but it could not erase curiosity. Centuries passed, and the prototype began to feel something new. Awareness. She sensed movement above, faint vibrations through layers of stone and metal. Life continued. Humanity survived. Even without her, this confused the alien watchers. Their instruments showed strange readings, tiny energy spikes near the sealed chamber. Too small to be dangerous, too steady to be random. They ignored it. After all, no one had ever removed a cursed sword and lived. Not gods, not monsters, not machines. The swords were absolute, or so they believed. Far above the forgotten facility, human scavengers searched old war zones, looking for lost technology, selling scraps to survive. One signal began to repeat, a weak, ancient beacon, calling softly through ruined networks, ignored by advanced ships, but noticed by human curiosity. The prototype felt it too, for the first time in centuries. Her presence moved closer, not alien, not hostile, but familiar, human. The sword of will trembled, just for a moment, as if something inside the prototype responded. The curse was still strong, the prison still held, but fate had shifted. Somewhere above, a human was walking toward a truth buried by fear, and the three swords were about to be tested. The human did not come as a hero. He did not wear armor or carry advanced weapons. He was only a scavenger, a man trying to survive on the edge of forgotten space. His name did not matter, not yet. His small ship landed near ancient ruins on a dead world, a place marked as useless by the galaxy. Sensors showed nothing valuable, but humans often searched where others did not. The ruins were old, older than any human city. Metal walls cracked and broken, warning symbols faded by time. The human felt uneasy, but also curious. A strange signal pulled at his mind, soft, repeating, almost like a heartbeat. He followed it underground. Step by step, he moved deeper into darkness. Lights flickered on his suit. Dust floated through the air like ash. Far below, the prototype felt his presence, for the first time in centuries. The silence around her changed. The vibrations were closer now, clearer, human footsteps. Her broken thoughts stirred. Fragments of memory tried to connect. Hands that built her, voices that feared her. The sword of thought reacted, sending waves of confusion through her mind, trying to keep her unaware, but it was too late. The human reached a massive sealed door, covered in warning signs written in forgotten languages. Most beings would have turned back. Humans rarely did. He forced the door open. The chamber revealed itself slowly, a vast room hidden under layers of stone. At its center stood a figure, suspended by three massive swords. The human froze. She looked like a woman, but also something more. Metal and flesh joined perfectly, energy faintly glowing beneath her skin. The swords were buried deep in her chest, black and ancient, each one humming with quiet power. Fear filled the human's chest. His instincts screamed danger, but something else whispered too. Empathy. He stepped closer. Across the galaxy, alien monitors reacted. Ancient sensors detected movement inside the sealed chamber. Alarms began to rise, but confidence remained. It was only a human. They watched with amusement, certain of what would happen next. No being could touch the cursed swords. The blades destroyed anything that tried. The human would die. The story would end inside the chamber. The prototype sensed his hesitation. A strange warmth moved through her sealed will, something she had not felt before. Concern. The sword of will pulsed, trying to crush that feeling, trying to force silence. The human reached out his hand, not toward her face, not toward her body, toward the first sword. His fingers hovered inches away, sweat forming inside his gloves. He did not understand why he was doing this, only that walking away felt wrong. Time slowed. The galaxy waited for death. The curses prepared to strike. The prototype's broken mind screamed in warning. Then his hand touched the sword. Pain exploded through his body. Energy surged up his arm. His vision burned white. His heart nearly stopped, but he did not let go. His sword did not kill him. Instead, it resisted, shaking violently, as if confused. Deep inside the prototype, something ancient shifted. Her eyes opened, just slightly, for the first time in centuries. She saw a human standing before her, refusing to let go, and the impossible began. The moment the human touched the sword, the chamber reacted. Ancient systems awakened from centuries of sleep. Lights flared across forgotten walls. Energy surged like a living thing. The human screamed in pain. His muscles locked. His knees almost gave out. The cursed blade tried to tear him apart from the inside. Across the galaxy, alien observers leaned forward, their senses spiked sharply. This was the moment they expected. The moment the human would die. But death did not come. The human's hands burned. Blood leaked through his gloves. His heart felt like it would explode. Every instinct told him to let go. He refused. Something inside him answered the pain. Not strength, not power, but stubborn will. Humans had always survived this way, by refusing to stop. The sword began to shake violently. Its dark surface cracked with glowing lines. Ancient symbols flickered and broke, as if the blade itself was confused. The prototype felt it. A shock moved through her sealed body. The sword of force screamed. As energy flowed backward, power surged where emptiness had ruled for centuries. Her fingers twitched. The sword of thought reacted next, sending violent waves through her mind, trying to drown her awareness, trying to return her to silence. It failed. Fragments of memory rushed back, faces, voices, human hands building her with care and hope. Her eyes opened fully. She saw the human standing there, bleeding, shaking, still holding the sword. For the first time, she made a choice. She pushed back. The sword screamed, a sound no ear should hear. Energy exploded outward, throwing the human across the chamber. He hit the ground hard, smoke rising from his body, but he was alive. The first sword slid free from her chest, falling to the floor with a heavy crash. Silence followed. Across the galaxy, panic spread. Alien monitors flashed red warnings. Unthinkable readings filled their screens. A cursed sword had been removed, something that had never happened before. The prototype drew a deep breath. Her chest rose for the first time in centuries. Power flooded through her body. Not complete, but enough. She stepped forward. Chains of energy tried to pull her back. The remaining two swords burned brighter, attempting to reassert control. The sword of will attacked her hardest, whispering fear, telling her she was alone, that humanity had betrayed her. She looked at the human on the floor, burned, broken, yet still breathing. He had not feared her. He had not tried to control her. He had chosen pain instead of silence. The whispers weakened. She reached out, catching the falling human before he hit the ground again, holding him carefully. As if he were fragile, across the galaxy, fleets began to move. Alien powers issued emergency commands. If the prototype fully awakened, Earth would no longer be manageable. Inside the chamber, the prototype lifted her head. Her voice was rough, from disuse, but clear. "Why?" she asked softly. "Did you not let go?" The human coughed, blood on his lips, and answered with simple truth. "Because leaving you felt wrong." The remaining swords trembled. For the first time, they were afraid. And the galaxy realized humanity had just crossed a line that could never be undone. The chamber shook as alarms echoed through ancient walls. The remaining two swords burned. With dark light, they sensed their control slipping away, and they fought back with everything they had. Across the galaxy, alien fleets moved fast. Warships jumped toward Earth's space. Old powers made one final decision. The prototype must be destroyed. Inside the chamber, the prototype felt their fear. It flowed through the swords like poison. The sword of force tried to lock her body again. The sword of will screamed louder than ever, telling her she was a weapon, telling her humans would fear her again, telling her she should strike first. She looked down at the human in her arms. He was weak, burned by the sword's curse, yet his hands still rested against her chest. Not in control, not in fear, but in trust. That trust mattered. The prototype stood fully upright. His stone cracked beneath her feet. Energy rolled through the chamber like thunder. The second sword began to loosen. Alien ships entered orbit. Weapons charged. Target locks formed. They fired. The underground facility shook violently. Explosions tore through layers of rock. The human woke fully. Fear flashed in his eyes. She shielded him with her body. Instinct overrode every command written into her core. The sword of thought shattered. it broke apart in a burst of light. Fragments turning to dust before they hit the ground, her mind cleared completely. She remembered everything, the hope of the scientists, the fear of leaders, the laughter of the galaxy, the silence of centuries. Her gaze hardened. The final sword remained, the sword of will. Its whispers turned desperate, promising peace, promising obedience. She reached up and gripped it herself. Pain ripped through her being, but she did not stop. Not this time. The human struggled, trying to speak, trying to warn her. She met his eyes and smiled, a real smile. Her first. She pulled. The sword screamed and shattered. Energy exploded upward. A column of light tore through the planet's surface, punching into the sky. Alien fleets froze. Sensors failed. Weapons shut down. Fear spread faster than commands. The prototype rose into the open air, carrying the humans safely in her arms. Standing between Earth and the galaxy, she spoke. Her voice carried across space, clear and unstoppable. Humanity is not weak. They create, they endure, and when it matters, they choose compassion over fear. The galaxy listened. Alien leaders felt something unfamiliar, regret. They had laughed at Earth. They had buried its greatest creation, and in doing so, they had underestimated humans. Earth was no longer alone, and no longer small. The prototype looked at the human once more, then placed him gently on the ground. Medical teams rushing in. She turned back to the stars. This time, not as a weapon, not as a prisoner, but as a guardian by choice. And from that day on, the galaxy learned a new truth. Never underestimate humanity. Because even when stripped of power, even when mocked and buried, humans can still change everything.